Internet. I have done it. I have I have finished Aqua Teen Hunger Force Season 2 before my family leaves for vacation with me, obviously. I'm not gonna not go on vacation with my family, guys. That's why zero people who asked that. I'm going on a vacation with my family. Made a whole post about it and everything. Honestly, a part of me was really worried I wasn't going to be able to finish the season in time, but for once, I wasn't lazy, and I did it. Yeah. So, season 2. If you want to know my thoughts on Aqua Teen season 1, I made a video, obviously. I even made a playlist, which I do for all the shows that I made to season 2 on. Go check out the playlist. But in short, because it would only feel right if I, talked about it, season 1 was good, but it wasn't great. Like, you can kind of tell it was a season 1 in that, they're figuring stuff out, and a lot of the episodes are just kind of there. Hopefully, season 2 is an improvement. I kind of find it funny that the first 2 seasons of Aqua Teen are so much larger than the rest of the show. Like, past season 2, the show episodes only get like 13 or 12, and then even by like 9 or 10 episodes. So it is worth pointing out my relationship with Aqua Teen Hunger Force has absolutely changed since my season 1 video. After watching season 1, I've been casually watching episodes, which I know is maybe a bit upsetting because it's supposed to be like a first time thing with this show, but I purposefully avoided season 2, so for these season 2 episodes, it was all completely new to me. And also, I couldn't wait, man. And honestly, especially for my season 1 video when it was this curious show I was really wondering about, even from watching random episodes, I could confirm Aqua Teen Hunger Force has now easily become one of my all-time favorite TV shows. So let's hope season 2 gets onto that great stuff and isn't just more of season 1, which is good, but not like anything special. Let's dig in. 24 episodes here. It's like 12 in the morning. Let's just get this over with, though. I'm honestly still shocked I was even able to get through all these episodes. Hold on. Probably say the single looks better. Alrighty, episode 1. Super Birthday Snake. Oh yeah, the first 8 episodes, and then also episode 10, skipping episode 9 for some reason, are all called Super. Don't ask me why they did this. This is just that's just a very Aqua Teen Hunger Force thing to do, I guess. And by Aqua Teen Hunger Force thing to do, I mean just being random for the sake of being random. Which usually sounds like a bad thing, but in this show's case, it's usually not. Anyway, premise of Super Birthday Snake is that Shake gets to meet Wad, a snake that eats them both. Frylock tries to get them out, but kills them. This one is a 4 out of 5. Already, I like this more than a majority of Season 1. This was a really good episode. I like, first of all, just Shake being my favorite character, and mostly because he's just the best at being the worst. The reason I love characters like Eric Cartman and Roger from American Dad is a part of the same reasons why I love Master Shake so much. He's so evil. I love it, honestly. I love evil main characters. It's just, I love it. And it's, seeing him just getting Meatwad a snake, even though bro obviously just wanted a rabbit, was just so funny to me. I really loved it. Especially since it eventually ends up backfiring on Shake because the snake eventually eats a Shake too. Well, just really funny stuff. I also like when it turns into. I think the episode does get better though when Frylock accidentally kills both Shake and Meatwad, and then it kind of turns into him feeling really guilty about it, but trying to make the most out of it, but being like, I can live on a house of my own. And then, like with Meatwad and Shake, I could say the deaths were accidental, like he didn't mean to do it. But with Carl, that was 100% on him, bro. Well, Frylock became a menace. And I love the ending when Carl, Shake, and Meatwad are all now zombies and come back to Frylock and are like, you did this to us. And Frylock keeps saying, no, I don't. No, I didn't. And they're like, Yes, you did. And the house is just burning around them. It's really good episode, honestly. Admittedly, at first, I didn't like the VR ending with Meatwad, and I was thinking, dude, it's Aqua. Literally anything can happen, and by next week, it's all hunky dory. We don't need this type of ending, guys. We don't need a VR ending. But then they made it funny again by finding out it was actually a Frylock's VR experience inside Meatwad's VR experience. And so even with that type of ending, they circled it around and made it funny again. Seriously impressive. 2. Superhero. Shake tries to be a superhero called the Drizzle without Frylock or Meatwad knowing. This is a good episode, 4 out of 5. Admittedly, there are a lot of episodes about characters wanting or just being superheroes. Off the top of my head, there's Simpsons Pie Man episode, which I'll have to wait like all the way until season 15 to share my thoughts on, if I'm even going to make videos for that long to the point of getting that far in one show. Well, there's also, of course, South Park's legendary superhero episodes, the quadrilogy, I guess, as you'd call it. The point is, shows have done superhero episodes. I think it's only grown since superhero movies became more popular during like the 2010s and now 2020s. Seeing Shake acting like he's this hotshot superhero while still trying to act like towards Fry like a Miwat. Oh no, I'm definitely not the Drizzle. It's good Shake material, I'd say. It's a good, and then him trying to get like punk toxic waste on himself to make him seem like a superhero. It's good. You gotta feel bad for Meatwad though, just trying to be Shake's sidekick, but him being like the Drizzle works alone. It's funny. Definitely not as good as the first episode, but still a good episode. I liked it. 3. Super Bowl. Meatwad wins 2 tickets to the Super Bowl, and Shake and Carl fight over who he's taking. Who's he taking, boys? Long story short, Boxer Brown, his cool new best friend. Oh, and they don't even end up going to the Super Bowl. This is a 5 out of 5. MCP Pants was the only season 1 episode I gave a 5 for anyone who forgot or just didn't bother to watch my season 1 video, which, cruel, very cold chat. But anyways, this is the first, this got a 5 out of 5. This is obviously a great episode in my opinion. It started off a little slow, but once Meatwad got the tickets, I think it turned into Shake and Carl desperately trying to get to be the person that Meatwad goes with because it was 2 tickets. It was really funny to me. Just seeing them both bend over to Meatwad's will, despite both being just jerks, just awful jerks. It's just funny seeing both of them trying to act like a nice people because they're obviously so bad at it. And then Frylock honestly being relatable, just not pretty much being like me, not even really caring about sports. I love this episode so much. Easily my favorite episode so far. Will there be other season 2 episodes that surpass it? Checking my list. Possibly, 4. Supercomputer. Frylock's supercomputer goes to the past and gets found by a caveman called Oog. This one's a 4 out of 5. Probably the weakest episode so far. It's still good, though. I think it starts a little weak, but once we actually meet Oog, I think it starts improving. Oog is a good character. I didn't really hear fans talk about him, but I liked him. I thought he was a good character. I like how he's still kind of caveman-like, but is obviously smarter than most cavemen. I don't have a ton to say about this episode, honestly, other than it's just another solid, funny one. In terms of good bits, I liked Shake hating on Frylock's name for the computer, and then when asked for Miwad's input, Miwad just says his butt itches, which is just so dumb. So dumb. And then when Ook first comes in, Shake tells Miwad, "Oh, your dad's here." that was that was a little messed up, especially since I think we sure have to wait till the first movie, which I have not seen, and it's not on Max. But long story short, we'll have to wait for all of that before we get more confirmation on the Aqua Teen's parents. So, which, given how episodic the show is, may or may not even really be canon. But yeah, good episode. Just not anything like especially spectacular. 5. Supermodel. Shake gets plastic surgery to feel better. Sorry, to make a quick little edit. Sorry. You can kind of tell I'm making the how low budget these videos are, considering I changed the Google Docs I write my thoughts on. Anyway, yeah, supermodel, shake his plastic surgery to feel better. Honestly, this one's a 3. Yep, first episode of the season, I'd say I didn't think was all that special. There were a few good moments. I liked Meatwad encouraging Shake to get more plastic surgery just so he can get out of the house. Given how much Shake bullies Meatwad, it's difficult to even feel bad for Shake in this episode because Shake is, again, just such an awful person, or I guess technically Cup most of the time, that it's difficult to really feel empathy for the guy. Admittedly, though, after a while, especially by the end, it kind of just gets mean for the sake of being mean. Like, there's mean comedy done right, and then it's just mean, and I'm just kind of sitting there almost kind of cringing a little. And that's kind of how I felt towards the ending. Not bad per se. Again, just because it has 3 ratings means more so just kind of down the middle. And this is even on the higher end of a 3 because there's still some good jokes here. Just not an episode I'd personally rewatch all the time, if you catch my drift. Which you probably don't. In which case, why don't you catch my drift, bro? 6. Super Spore. An alien stays at the Aqua Teen's home and controls Shake's body so he can speak. Don't have a ton to say. 3 out of 5. I like this one even less than last one, honestly. Shame we're getting into this duology of midness. I don't know. The alien at first having to learn how to speak English because he can only speak Japanese was decently funny. There's also Frolic thinking the alien wants to propose to them. That was a little funny. I don't know. Honestly, the whole thing with Meatwad and Alien kind of acting like children to Frylock, from Frolic being the dad, was a little weird and not really in the funny way either. Just kind of there. That's honestly how I can describe this whole episode. I didn't even really think the alien was that funny of a one-off. Just kind of a there episode, honestly. 7. Super Sirloin. Meatwad listens to a rapper who makes him give him food. This one's a 3 out of 5. This is the sequel to MCP Pants from Season 1, which was my favorite Season 1 episode by far, but sadly not that good of a sequel. Don't know what to say about the sequel, honestly. It was just kind of there. Just, okay. Like, okay, chat. We get it. It's more MCP Pants. Kind of just felt like a worse version of the first episode. Like, what made MCP Pants, the Season 1 episode, so great was the escalation. Like, we to the weird ending. That's what I love about that episode and why I gave it a 5 and still stand by my 5 rating for it. But with this episode, there's not as much of that. It's just kind of the same thing done worse. It's also just not that funny. Probably the least funny episode so far, which doesn't automatically make it the weakest episode, but definitely doesn't help its case for being a good one either. Look, let's see in favorite moments. What are the favorite moments of this episode? Okay, well, there is the cold open with Dr. Weird fitting in with the herd, which, by having an antler replacing his you-know-where, which made me completely realize I've been neglecting the Dr. Weird openings, even though they were one of the highlights of Season 1. Long story short, I just don't bother talking about them because this video is already probably going to be long. All I'll say is most of them are still good. I'm still upset the show kind of got rid of them after season 2 because I do genuinely like them. I'm just in a way, I'm honestly just kind of weirded out they got rid of opening bits in general after season 3. Like, why did they do that? The opening bits were so fun. Added an extra bit of weirdness into the show that I enjoyed, but whatever. Anyway, besides that, what else is even that good? When Frylock says, we weren't just eat the sand, and Meatwad's like, the sand's not that bad. I kind of like that. And then also MCP Pants' reveal of just him being a cow was funny, and his fly wrap was decently good. But yeah, that's mostly it. The song's just kind of there. Another one that's just there, unfortunately. Man, season 2 started off good, and even a great episode, but now we're just getting 3 back-to-back meh episodes. Let's hope the next episode can get us back on track. 8. Super Squatter. Shake doesn't pay the house bills, so he squats at Carl's house. This is more like it. This is a 4 out of 5. Pretty good material, I must say. Don't have a lot to say. Again, starts off with Shake, being the worst person ever. Just not paying the bills, straight up flushing them down the toilet, by the way. That was so, yeah, really, bro does not want to do bills. Even as a teenager who hasn't had to deal with much money expenses in his life so far, even I can agree that bills probably are going to suck hard when I become an adult. Anyway, and seeing Shake just stay with Carl's is funny. That's a perfectly good duo because Shake's an instigator and Carl rages a lot, so that's just a good duo. Admittedly, the stuff with Frylock and Meatwad, I barely even remember, and I don't remember it being as good, but the Shake and Carl stuff makes this a really good episode to me. Almost 5 worthy. Don't have much else to say, though. Pretty good episode. Definitely enjoying it. I like that when Carl is trying to, need some help because he accidentally shot his foot, Shake just calls a pizza place. I think it's the perfect example of just Shake's character and why I love him so much. But he's probably up there as one of my favorite cartoon characters because he's just the worst in all the best ways. 9. Meat Zone. That's right, for one episode before coming back for the next episode and then being gone for the rest of the season, we get a break from the super titles with Meat Zone. Meatwad gets powers that can let him see into the future. I know that 4 out of 5. Another episode I just kind of like, and because of that, I'm going to barely say anything about it. It's a better version of Season 1's Balloonenstein, which I remember being one of the worst Season 1 episodes because of how boring it is. But this one was decently funny. Don't have a lot to say about it. Meatwad thinks he's Yoda for one scene. That's all I'm going to say. Also, Meatwad's apparently Banana Man. Good to know. And he wants a job crossing roads. We know a lot about Meatwad this episode. I guess that's what happens when we delve into the meat zone. Ah, yeah, giggity. Oh, wrong adult cartoon. My apologies. 10. Super Trivia. Okay, never mind about no more super titles. Don't worry, though. This is actually genuinely the last one. The remaining 14 episodes don't have this problem. Frylock makes Meatwad and Shake smart to help win at bar trivia. 4 out of 5. Another pretty good one. From the few reviews I've heard about it, people don't generally like this one, I think, or at least just kind of think it's there, but it's a shame because I actually really liked this episode. I like that it's not just the stereotypical dumb characters act smart trope. I mean, they already did that last season with Dumber Days, which I thought was a pretty mid episode, but then I found a lot of season 1 kind of mid, so it fits. Don't have much else to say about Super Trivia other than it's really funny. And I think Carl was a big highlight in that episode. Just not caring sitting away from the Aqua Teens, not even sitting in the same booth as them, and then just wanting the hot wings. It was good. Admittedly, I guess Wayne wasn't the best one-off character. Maybe people don't like it because of him. The one-off characters, especially in these early seasons, were a large part of the show, so I can kind of get if they're missed. But just because Wayne was just kind of there doesn't mean the whole episode was a miss, honestly. This is still a really good episode. Honestly, pretty underrated, which is funny because I'm not even defending it extremely hard. I'm just saying it's a pretty good episode, I guess. 11. Universal Remonster. The Plutonians steal the Aqua Teen's cable and create a living remote to change channels. This one's a 5 out of 5. I love this episode. It doesn't beat Super Bowl. That's still my number one for now, but I still love this episode. I think I like the Plutonians more than the Mooninites. I'm not sure if that's a hot take to have. I'm not sure if I forgot to say that during my season 1 review. I'm not sure if I even felt it back then either, but I love them so much, and this is easily I'm happy I finally got to watch another episode with them, as I love this one, especially since I kind of just liked their first episode and thought their second episode was on the higher end of a 3 rating. Don't even have much to say. The Plutonians are great here, and Shake abusing the monster remote is just what you'd expect out of Shake's character. This also probably has maybe the funniest joke I've seen in the entire show, at least from the episodes I've seen. Okay. So, in the scene, Frylock is watching this puppet show on TV, and Frylock's like, change the channel. Meanwhile's like, no, this is good. And this is the part where Carlos tells what's his face that she has breast cancer. It doesn't sound funny at all when I say it, but when in the context of the episode, for an out of context line, it is the most funniest thing I think I may have ever seen. Oh yeah, she just took about to tell Mama that she's having that she has breast cancer casually in a puppet children's show. Moments like this truly show why I love Aqua Teen Hunger Force so much. There are I can still love more realistic shows. Like I still love Bob's Burgers, and Simpsons is my all-time favorite show, and that's way more grounded than this. So, still, a random show like this can just do the trick, bro. It is chef's kiss. Whoever thought of that line in that moment deserves a raise. My opinion. Yeah, amazing episode. 12. Total Recarl. Frylock's machine destroys Carl, so Frylock tries to get him a new body. Okay, so before properly watching this episode, this is one of the season 2 episodes people loved the most, or at least I heard people really love on the most, and after watching it, I can now agree. This is a 5 out of 5. I even love it more than Super Bowl chat, so we actually did get an episode I love more than that one. Honestly, I want to be contrarian and be like, bro, this episode's not even that good, but nah, it kind of is that good. I love it. It's just really, really funny. Almost every scene has a funny joke or a funny character interaction. I love it. Don't even have much to say, honestly. It's just a consistently hilarious episode. They uses the simple premise of just Frylock trying to give Carl a new body and uses it for all these funny jokes. Literally all of Carl's new bodies, or almost new bodies in the robot's case, were just hilarious to me. And it was just it's difficult to really say. Again, the problem, I guess, with reviewing shows like Aqua Teen is that they're so random that it could be difficult to try to properly describe them. Other than just, this was a really great and funny episode, go watch it if you somehow haven't already watched it. But given that this is already a popular episode among fans, I think even if you're a more casual Aqua Teen fan like I currently am at the moment, I feel like there's a good chance you may have already seen this episode. And I'm glad I finally was able to. As I can also agree, this is an amazing episode. We are halfway through. Z-Man fans know the drill by now. All right, I'm good now. Second half, baby. 13. Revenge of the Trees. Carl and Shake dump oil into the forest, and the trees try to get the revenge. Don't have a ton to say. 4 out of 5. Good episode. The final bit with them, with the trees pretty much shaking the Aqua teams, was probably the highlight moment of the episode. There is an especially good cold open here of Steve pretending to be like Dr. Weird, which I found pretty funny. Really sticking into that weirdo. But I guess the name makes his general attitude obvious. I also, admittedly, as much as it probably would be horrible for my stomach, man, just a grilled, oiled cow. They made it look so good in the episode, chat. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Also, Shake making the cow eat beef, pretty much cow cannibalism as I wrote it in the Google Doc. Also, Miwa thinking he has a wife is also just a generally funny moment. This is a solid episode with good jokes, but doesn't really manage to be anything super top tier in my opinion. 14. Spirit Journey Formation Anniversary. Shake gets a famous guitarist to make a new birthday song. Another time, I was too dumb to notice an error. Anyway, don't have a lot to say about this episode. Good, solid episode. Again, with so many episodes to review and this already not being the easiest show to talk about, it can make it kind of difficult talking about just a casually good episode like this. Shake gets one of his best lines saying, "It must be obvious day at Camp Stupid." Also, meat-wide is 55. So that's good. No, that's good to know Meatwade's confirmed age. Is it even confirmed? Who even freaking knows with the show anymore? "15. The Shaving. It's Halloween, and the Aqua teens meet a monster named Willie Nelson, but not the Willie Nelson. This is another loved episode, and I can also agree. It's a 5 out of 5. Honestly, I think the ending confirms the 5 rating. Excuse me. Before, like, don't get me wrong, I was still really liking the episode. I was debating giving it a 5 even before that, but the ending, not even going to spoil it, other than if you know, you know, and it makes the episode 5 worthy. I love it. I'm McLovin' it. Definitely a great episode, and also just a good Halloween episode in general. Definitely a great episode. Love it a lot. Also, we have to also say hello to the incredible Plum, the new Marvel character that's going to take over the nation. 16. Brood Witch. Shake sees a sandwich called the Brood Witch, which is the devil sandwich. Here are my thoughts on this episode. It isn't even bad. It's a 4 out of 5, pretty good. But I don't think it's one of the best episodes of the show. Brood Witch has earned its place among Aqua Teen fans as one of the greatest episodes in the show's history. And when watching through, now that I've watched through the episode, and now it's obviously picking a bit of perspective now, I can properly say it's a pretty good episode, but not anything. But even just looking at season 2, and I guess it's the first 2 seasons in general, I wouldn't even say it's one of my favorites. It didn't even get the max rating, in my opinion. Ooh, hey, someone's on stream. Hello, person on stream. How are you? For me, it's like 12:30 a.m. What are you doing up? Why are you up? Please get a life. Actually, don't. I need people watching my stream. Yeah, okay, bye. Anyway, yeah, this is a pretty good episode, but I just don't see it as like peak Aqua teen, wasn't loving it. Don't even have much else to say really, other than just it's pretty good. I feel like again, most Aqua Teen fans who talk about the show probably talk about this episode, and all I gotta say is pretty good. Not one of my all-time faves. 17 kidney car. Shake uses Carl's car for a derby, and Meatwad buys it after it's destroyed. 4 out of 5. All I'm gonna say about this one is it's a pretty good episode and shows just how good these characters are. If you can give them a simple enough premise, like they take Carl's broken car and they're able to make a pretty good episode out of it. I think this is a good episode to show how good the characters work off each other, in my opinion. Pretty good stuff. 18. The cubing. A cube shows up in the Aqua Teen's front yard. Okay, this one's a 2 out of 5. I really thought before watching this episode we'd avoid any 2 out of 5s like Love Mummy from season 1, which I still probably argue is worse, but this is still not that good. The problem with this episode is honestly the same problem I have with Love Mummy from last season. Why that was also a 2. Sorry, really itchy eyes. The problem is that the one-off character in this episode is annoying. Like, I don't care about this stupid cube guy. He ruins any comedic potential the episode had just by being so annoying. Like, I still say the mummy was probably more annoying to watch, but that was, like, the cube had one good joke. I did like his line of where he says, jobs for people who don't know how to fish. Like, that was funny. Honestly, the best jokes in this one, though, were just the Aqua Teens and just people just trying to ignore the cube. Because it was just how I felt. So it was like relatable humor, bro. I hate how much I feel somewhat relatable to the cube in a way. And that just makes me hate myself. So congratulations, Aqua Teen writers. You made me think I relate with a character who I really hate. Mediocre episode. 19. Fred aliens. 2 Fred aliens crash into the Aqua Teen's lawn. Literally almost the exact same premise as the cubing, but better. This is a 4 out of 5. The one alien who's like, my dad owns a dealership. I like that. Like, his dad owns a dealership. I also liked how weird Shake gets. Okay, so there's a quick thing I want to say about this episode, and it's not to be mean or to insult the writers, but there's a lot of gay jokes in this episode for no reason. Like, I barely remember any gay jokes in like most other episodes, but in this one, it's just like they really went in on the gay jokes. I already talked about Shake and how weird he was being while drunk near the Fred aliens, but there's also the aliens thinking or pretty much assuming all of the main trio were women. Then one of the aliens very obviously being gay, and then Shake making Meatwad think he's bi-curious. And then by the end of the episode, Meatwad is pretty much bi-curious, is pretty much acting bi, or at least gay, or whatever. Like, it's not even a bad thing. I'm not like even that sensitive to that stuff. I think it's funny, but it's still, I don't know. It's just funny to me that they threw so much of those types of jokes into one episode. Pretty good though. Who knows? Maybe all these gay jokes are supposed to represent the frat boy experience. Who knows? Or maybe the frat alien experience because their creators have totally met those type of people or aliens. Or where am I going with this joke? I should just move on. 20. The clowning. Carl gets a wig that turns him into a clown. Don't have much to say, honestly. 3 out of 5. Perfectly 3 forgettable episode and nothing to say. The Dr. Weird cold open was funny. Hit Dr. Weird's butt, eating his entire body. And even having Dr. Weird again by the end of the episode for the only time where he explains more about the clown wig. Like, that was pretty good. I liked seeing him. Other than that, though, pretty just meh. Like, there's still the occasional good joke, like the Aqua Teens not having a brush because, well, they're all bald. I did also like the scene of Carl with the hooker and he's just rocking out in front of her. Carl just being a little rock dork is just really amusing to me and kind of cute for once, which is weird because it's Carl of all characters. Again, it feels relatable. Just replace rocking with me talking about cartoons. And I guess shows in general, which I mean is the point of this channel. So, jokes on me, chat. #21, the dressing. The Aqua Teens to celebrate Thanksgiving, even though it's a week late, and meet the future robot called Turkatron. Sorry, I've been sitting for a while. I'm trying to get a more comfortable position. Don't take that line out of context. Okay, so from the little I heard about this episode before watching it, I thought, is this going to be that Robot Cybernetic Goes to Robot Past episode again? Is this going to be that again? But now that I've watched it, I've realized two things. One, it is totally that again. And two, it's a pretty good episode, and honestly, even better than the OG one. That's right, I went there. I'm saying my opinions. I'm not sure if that's a popular opinion or not, though, but I have it. Honestly, not much to say. Just a funnier version of that already good episode. I think it had a better ending. I remember not really loving the ending of the OG Cybernetic episode. It's just pretty dumb, but pretty funny. But then again, when saying that, that still like describes most of the show, so it's not really saying much. Just gonna read off a few of my favorite moments because I don't know what else to say. Meatwad saying that the Aqua Teens aren't even official Americans is funny. He also briefly says "bird is the word," which gave me massive Family Guy vibes. Just reminding me of that. Just reminding me of that really great Family Guy episode. But I guess we're gonna have to wait until season 7 before I get more into that. By the way, I have a poll in my posts, and Family Guy is an option. Please vote in the poll. There's also Shake not caring about Carl's life at all, which is just classic Shake behavior. Also, Carl looking like a chicken, and the Meatwad looking like a chicken. Not sure which one's more cursed. But yeah, pretty good episode. Another one that almost ended up being a 5 for me. 22. The best episode title ever conceived by man. Frylock moves to an apartment by himself, but he becomes lonely. This one's a 4 out of 5. This is the rare episode where I kind of wish, where I actually kind of liked it for the story for once. Weird, right? So I posted it. Also, I posted the weird right question also in my chat because I need to use that space, that empty space somehow. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I think it could have been better. I think that what holds it back is the comedy. It's not an extremely funny episode, but the premise carries it to being a good episode, in my opinion. I don't know. I like the idea of Frylock separating himself from Meatwad and Shake because let's face it, Frylock is debatably the only normal character just in general. I can't really think of that many others that really match him in terms of that. So, yeah, I mean, the idea of him moving out, being on his own is good, but I just don't think they went harder with it. Admittedly, the stuff going on with the rest of them and that whole raw chicken thing wasn't that funny in my opinion, so that's probably part of the problem. Don't have a lot else to say, honestly. Good, but could have been better. Also, the Moon Knights are just briefly here. So I guess, but it is cool to see them, I guess. 23, the cloning. Frylock makes a new TV out of his cloner that's pretty cursed. Later, Frylock and Shake use the cloner to clone money. 4 out of 5. An episode, perfect case of an episode where I don't really care about the story. I didn't think it was that interesting, but it's still decently high on the list because there's a lot of really good jokes in it. All I'm gonna say about that one, because this is already becoming a really long video. Well, and I'm tired. And 24, the finale, the last one. The Moon Knights gather all the villains to come up with a plan to destroy the Aqua Teens. Do we end out the season on a banger? What do you mean we do? Yeah, this is a 5 out of 5. And honestly, easily my favorite episode out of the first 2 seasons. I loved this episode. All of the scenes are incredibly funny to me. I think all the villains surprisingly had perfect chemistry, which I did not expect. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was called the last one because this was meant to be the final episode, which if show, like, I don't. Admittedly, having the final episode just being about all the villains and barely featuring the Aqua Teens feels like the type of premise this show would 100% do, which is why I'm not against it. But yeah, this was an amazing episode, and honestly, I guess since this will never be the type of show that will ever have any great ideas for a final episode, so I can't exactly say I can't really say I was against it, but I'm obviously glad the show did continue, as from the episodes I've seen past season 2, the show seems to only get better and better from season 2. But the last one is still an amazing episode, and honestly, may even still be in my top 10, even after watching through seasons 3 through 12. Maybe. I don't even know. I just know this is an amazing episode. And if there's one episode in both this season and the show that I recommend watching, or at least the first 2 seasons I recommend watching, it's this one. It's this one, chat. That is it, though. So let me do the ranking first, or at least describe the ranking, before then getting on to my opinions. All the way number 24, being the only 2 out of 5, we have the cubing. And then for the 3 out of 5s, we have Super Spore, Super Sirloin, the Clowning, and then just barely making it into the top 20 is Supermodel. I guess the other 4 would be the ones I'd cut, but Supermodel would be the one that just barely would make it into the season if it was only a 20-episode season. Then with the goods, which is an overwhelming majority of the episodes, we have Meat Zone, Revenge of the Trees, Spirit Journey Formation Anniversary, Supercomputer, Superhero, the Super Trivia, Super Birthday Snake, The Cloning. And then for the top 10, we have Kidney Car, Fred Aliens, Brood Witch. That's right, only a number 8 in the season 2 ranking, not even the entire show. Seriously, it's a pretty good episode, but not that great, chat. Whatever. Super Squatter, and then the Dressing, which rounds out the 4 out of 5s. And ironically enough, there's 5 out of 5s, which makes the top 5 just the 5 truly great episodes. They are The Shaving, Universal Remonter, Super Bowl, Total Recall, and the surprising final entry that tops both season 2 and the whole show so far, the last one. Dude, I feel so freaking bad for season 1. Out of the entire top 10 for the overall list, only one of the top 10 is a season 1 episode. The rest of the 9 entries are all season 2 episodes. Chat, I feel so bad. But yeah, that's my season 2 opinion. Definitely, season 2 is very much a step up from season 1 in every possible way. I still like season 1. I still think it's a perfectly good season of television. But season 2, I'd say, is actually a pretty good season. It's funnier. I think the characters and their dynamics are getting stronger. Just a really good season, with some truly great episodes, which honestly just shows the value of shows like Aqua Teen that are just so random, it's hilarious. That's all I gotta say about this season, though. It's a pretty good. As per usual, if you have any thoughts about any of the episodes or just anything in general you want to chat with me about, you're always free. You're always free. Just talk in the comments. I'm cripplingly a lonely person. I will almost immediately respond to them because I am desperate. Thank you and goodbye. Also, vote in the poll.